Looking crazy.
in Alexandria, Virginia, on the 9th of October, only a couple of weeks from now, at 10 a.m. local time. James Comey is facing 2 counts, making false statements and also obstruction of justice. It's obviously the obstruction of congressional proceedings. The charges stem from his 2020 Senate testimony regarding his handling of the FBI's Russiagate investigation. Of course, essentially the media, Hillary Clinton's side and James Comey's side were going around saying President Trump has a relationship with the Russians and we know about it without providing any evidence. Then we discovered that was a hoax. And then it backfired massively on both the FBI and Hillary Clinton, the Clinton family in general. Somehow they get away with it. But now we are finally seeing some sort of
I think Hillary Clinton needs to go to jail.
Level of consequences, legally speaking. Now, James Comey has released a statement finally responding to his indictment. Let's quickly go to that before we show you give you guys the information about what actually happened on the 6th of January 2021.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump. But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid, and I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged,
you got caught.
You are paying attention, and you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
All right, that was a reaction from the former director.
Idiot.
It's interesting because I'm going to show you some reaction from the legacy media, especially CNN, because they're just repeating. They don't get the irony that they are now saying the things that was said against them. Oh, but Donald Trump is now a dictator, blah, blah, blah. He's weaponizing the justice system, blah, blah, blah. They themselves literally did it. Oh, Donald Trump is going after his opponents. Oh, really? Pot kettle stupid. Now, that aside, James Comey's indictment case, he's lucky because it's now been assigned to Judge Michael Nachmanov, who is a Democrat appointed by Joe Biden. This is some good news for James Comey. He could get away with something. But of course, Nachmanov joined the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia in 2021 when Biden became president. He previously did serve as a federal public defender and, of course, a Democrat. So that might help James Comey a little bit. Obviously based on how the discovery and the evidence and witnesses is actually being framed during the actual trial. So from the 9th of October, things are going to get extremely juicy. Now, going to the Democrats and CNN, they have been having a bit of an emotional breakdown, of course. Senator Klobuchar went on CNN and said that Trump ordered this prosecution, and this is simply dangerous. It's not really a shock to hear this. Let's quickly go to CNN and see what happened.
I'm going to get a little out of the weeds here because, of course, we don't know all the details of what was presented, but I look at it this way, Anderson. Trump ordered this prosecution. I'm sure he ordered it behind closed doors, but he also ordered it right there on Truth Social. He fired the U.S. attorney, who is, according to Senator Warner, a staunch conservative who looked at all the evidence, wasn't moving forward with charges, and he fired him and then installed a White House aide to overrule career prosecutors. That is what I need to know because this is simply dangerous. And you can see this through line with this one thing after another. He calls for prosecution of Letitia James. He calls for the prosecution and investigation of the Federal Reserve members
Whack
to
the police officer.
goes after
Shouldn't
Adam
have
Schiff,
above the law.
pardoned insurrectionists who attacked police officers,
They
pressured
didn't attack police
prosecutors to
officers.
dismiss a corruption case against Eric.
Now, let me explain the difference to the senator between people like Biden and Obama and Bill Clinton, who publicly come and lie to your face, saying we are transparent, the White House doesn't get involved with anything, and then behind closed doors it gets exposed that they have actually been plotting, compared to President Trump, who actually is more transparent. Yes, he publicly calls for prosecution, for example, because he's doing it publicly, he's calling for it. There's no legal mandate enforced by the White House. That is much better than when, for example, Obama goes around saying, well, of course, we're not getting involved with anything. You know, this is the judiciary. And then behind closed doors, it gets exposed that you've been plotting and you've been ordering. Now, again, this is a pot kettle situation. They don't understand this. Now, they say that this is becoming political. Well, if this is becoming political, why is it that James Comey's son-in-law decided to politically resign? So Troy Edwards Jr., Deputy Chief of the National Security Section at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Virginia, same place, who is also the son-in-law of James Comey, resigned effective immediately, essentially in protest, saying, "Dear Ms. Halligan," this is to Lindsay Halligan, the attorney office for Virginia. Its District of Virginia. "To uphold my oath to the Constitution and country, I hereby resign as an Assistant United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia in the Department of Justice effective immediately." So who is being political now? A liberal who is working technically as a civil servant, who's not happy about what's going on, to his father-in-law, and politically resigns. Meanwhile, the former Democrat presidents were plotting behind closed doors, and the FBI, but because publicly they were saying something else, that's fine. But when President Trump just simply publicly, because that's just his rhetoric, that's how it works, calls for, for example, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, to hurry up with the investigation. Apparently that's a problem. No, that's more transparent than you guys secretly plotting behind closed doors. Now, James Comey, one of the main reasons he was indicted was for lying under oath to Senator Ted Cruz. This happened on the 30th of September 2020, just after the first lockdown. This was during the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. As a reminder, let's go to that, then we're going to talk to you guys about the January 6th riots.
To another topic. On May 3rd, 2017, in this committee, Chairman Grassley asked you point blank, quote, "Have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation?" You responded under oath, quote, "Never." He then asked you, quote, "Have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton administration?" You responded again under oath, "No."
2017.
Now, as you know, Mr. McCabe, who works for you, has publicly and repeatedly stated that he leaked information to the Wall Street Journal and that you were directly aware of it and that you directly authorized it. Now, what Mr. McCabe is saying and what you testified to this committee cannot both be true. One or the other is false. Who's telling the truth?
I can only speak to my testimony. I stand by what the testimony you summarized that I gave in May of 2017.
So your testimony is you've never authorized anyone to leak. And Mr. McCabe, if he says contrary, is not telling the truth. Is that correct?
Again, I'm not going to characterize Andy's testimony, but mine is the same today.
All right, I'm going to make a final point because my time has expired.
That's apparently a lie.
This investigation of the president was corrupt. The FBI and the Department of Justice were politicized and weaponized. And in my opinion, there are only two possibilities. That you were deliberately corrupt or woefully incompetent. And I don't believe you were incompetent. This has done severe damage to the professionals and the honorable men and women at the FBI because law enforcement should not be used as a political weapon. And that is...
Yeah, Ted Cruz was correct. They don't care. Of course they don't care. Now, part of this goes back to the culture of the FBI at the time. For years and years, especially since James Comey and his allegedly corrupt leadership since 2013 became more escalated. Now we go to 2021. 6th of January. Protests then led to riots. Capitol Hill. There were so much evidence of Trump supporters who were angry, but they were by the building, by the windows, by the door. Firstly, security, no touching of security. Secondly, so much evidence, and we're going to show you again, of people, despite being angry, trying to restrain themselves, and then sometimes, every now and then, a couple of people basically provoking, saying, no, let's go inside, let's break this, let's infiltrate. Then there were all these people, Trump supporters, saying, since 2021, we have a feeling something was happening on that day, FBI infiltration or whatever. And they were labeled as conspiracy theorists. Well, now we have the confirmation because the document has now finally been released. FBI secretly deployed more than 270 plainclothes agents to the US Capitol on that day, 6th of January. An operation so disorganized that it unleashed searing frustrations among many of the FBI's rank and file. And of course, the agents had lost their core competencies due to wokeness. This is according to the FBI agents themselves, some of the good ones, basically. It allowed its employees to become pawns in a political war. And this is according to an after-action report that was kept from the public for more than 4 years. They denied this for more than 4 years. Now that we know, obviously,
Now,
there'll be a lot
what do
of
you
us
guys
who
have to
say,
say
"Wow,
about January
it's a
6th?
surprise. We already know this. We told you." It's always important to actually appreciate when the evidence is finally released. So you actually use it instead of just saying, "Well, I should have trusted my instinct. I didn't knew there were some agents there." Well, yes, there were agents there, and that is evidence. And even some of those agents were not happy about what was happening. They were deployed anyway. It continues. The most persistent complaint was that the FBI during the James Comey and Chris Wray era had become infected with political biases and liberal ideology that treated the protesters from the 2020 summer with Black Lives Matter differently than those arrested on the 6th of January. Well, technically, most of the people from the US Capitol, Capitol Hill, were actually arrested after that day because the FBI launched this massive investigation and proper manhunt on every single individual. And a lot of people who didn't actually do anything, they still got arrested anyway.
Yeah.
They became political prisoners. During the only a few months before, when Black Lives Matter riots were happening and all the other left-wing protests and riots, largely peaceful riots apparently, nothing happened. These agents were not deployed to either
Left
arrest
is the side of violence.
or investigate or
They
even
can't
cause
handle
chaos.
an
They just
argument or
allowed them to do
disagreement.
it. Political bias was already there. It wasn't orchestrated for January 6th. It was already there. The document also revealed for the first time that there was widespread concerns for years inside the FBI, sentiments that boiled over after the agency bureau began sending SWAT teams to arrest the January 6 protesters on misdemeanor charges. That the FBI had become biased in favor of liberals against the conservatives. The fact that they deployed SWAT teams to go and arrest people after that day, not even on the day, days after, treating them like basically terrorists, then we discover most of the damage that was done on the day was actually by, allegedly, the FBI agents, the plainclothes secret agents. There's been so many examples. You can see it on social media and many other channels, including InfoWars, that again they all got labeled conspiracy theorists. None of this is true. Now it's all been proven right.
Now you
Examples
got
showing
documents.
plain clothing agents, and there were some people on the day looking around saying that person is a bit suspicious because they were very, very passionate and proactive about let's break this window, let's go into this office, let's go to Nancy Pelosi's office, burn things, for example. And the rest of the crowd were reluctant and saying that's not our plan, we don't want to do this. And they still did it anyway. That's not normal. They wanted to cause chaos, to blame it on Trump supporters, and basically then blame it on President Trump, saying Trump ordered this. That was exposed because that was just a media lie. Again, the evidence is there. President Trump never called on anybody to riot. In fact, he did the exact opposite. He said march towards the US Capitol. That's it, fine. But don't get violent. There's no need. And most didn't want to. They were angry. But they still restrained. If you do realize, thousands and thousands of people were there outside the building. If the majority, not all, if the majority were thugs and violent, you do realize that building would have been burned down by now. Would have been so easy, considering there was not enough security.
Most people didn't even want to deal with it.
Security were there.
They didn't want to break in or destroy anything.
If that crowd were actually thugs,
Like
they would have
people.
destroyed the building.
Well, you know, Black Lives
They
Matter.
could have completely take down the whole thing. But obviously it didn't happen. You could see anger. You could see a lot of robust and violent aggression. But obviously it depends how you film it and how you also show it to the public. Go watch all the footage that was shown on the day and the next few days by CNN, ABC, and all the other CNBC.
Yeah.
If you edit it well, it would literally look like a war zone.
Yep.
If you then zoom in with a magnifying glass, for example, you could actually see there's a handful of people getting all the others excited.
Rowdy.
But apparently,
And inciting.
they were all conspiracy theorists at the time. It would have been proven right. Now it's time for justice.
Yeah, would it
Now,
get Comey, get
some
find those
action here.
agents, especially the ones that
From God's best friend said, I said it was FBI 10 minutes in. There were a lot of people. Their instinct was right at the time. But again, perfect
the
example.
left will
of
still deny it,
conspiracy theory becoming
unfortunately.
Conspiracy fact.
Still denied it.
Doesn't really help overall unless you actually change
Huh?
the system itself, the corruption. President called for the prosecution of known treasonous criminals, and that's a bad thing. Yeah, apparently it is. Yeah, it's weird.
Uh-oh.
He simply pushed, by the way. He simply pushed
The pouty
for
face.
urgency. That's all he did. He was pushing
The
Pam
lip.
Bondi to hurry up, and apparently that's a problem. But when Joe Biden
No, me
and
neither.
Barack Hussein Obama or Bill Clinton, all these guys were actually plotting behind closed doors, that's fine. Because they
Yeah,
did it
so be
all
careful, Gabe.
discreetly. They didn't tweet about it.
So be careful, Gabe. Don't make her
They
cry.
prefer plots.
No.
No.
I think it'll be Eli.
January, J6 was Crystal Lock's operation. There was the involvement. I think some other people might get exposed as well, because I don't think it was just the FBI.
No, it's the CIA.
It seemed very disorganized, but somehow effective. Disorganized in a sense that the FBI employees have now complained, saying it was disorganized, as in the operation by the FBI agents.
Yeah,
It was chaos,
it was meant to be
but
chaos.
still effective enough for a lot of people to believe that
Most people are
Trump
trained
ordered
on
a
how to
bunch of
create
thugs
chaos and how to
go burn
thrive
down
in
the
it,
city,
and how to
right?
direct people through that
Technically
chaos,
effective at the time.
whether for good or bad.
Trump himself got cancelled, literally got cancelled.
Yeah, he got taken off Twitter
For 4
because of
years.
that.
But actually, don't be surprised if other names also come out eventually, if they do come out,
Yeah,
including
hopefully
other
they do.
agencies, not just the FBI. You stop the conspiracies, we stop the theories. Paul says, I wonder how the BBC will report this. The news should be listening to is unavailable like the rest of this parasitic government. So we have actually our team have been monitoring the BBC and Sky News in the UK all day. And surprise, surprise, they haven't actually reported this. They have mentioned about James Comey being summoned, but that's it.
I like Sky
Being
News
indicted.
Australia, not
But
okay.
they're not telling the truth about what's been exposed about January 6th riots. Kevin says the J6 political prisoners should file a class action lawsuit against the Clinton Foundation. Well, the thing about it, you
they
need
need
more
to go
evidence
after the
to then link
Clintons
it to the
for
Clinton Foundation.
something.
If you just do a suit, try to sue them,
Especially with this whole
the
Russiagate
case will
thing.
get thrown out.
Clintons are like
More
really
things need to come
entwined
out.
in that.
This is just the beginning of this investigation, the deeper investigation about the culture of the FBI and the rest of the establishment who were working. And that also includes the Department of Justice at the time. Let's not forget about that. The DOJ have a lot of questions to answer. Well, those who were in charge at the time.
Yeah.
Ryan, this
Too
is
many
my
questions.
thoughts are with your people that have to watch the mainstream media for us. Yeah, but we will have to monitor the mainstream media so you don't have to suffer. So that's literally our job here. Anyway. All right. John Johnson is not happy about life, saying, not much British content on this channel anymore. Adios, amigos. Which is kind of ironic. Well, considering that TCTV is a global news channel, and we did actually, in fact, do a report, the previous report yesterday, about Keir Starmer's digital ID nonsense.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. That's gonna be
Yeah, it's a global
great.
channel, and we do cover everything that happens, including in the Islamic Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Now, James says, I'll be honest, I don't want to see any crocodile tears from the people that have done this. I'm assuming you're talking about the FBI employees, right? So if you mean them, then I do agree, but I don't really think they haven't really indicated that they are sorry about this. So I think what they simply have said in their testimonies is that they simply complained about the operation on the day that it was disorganized. That's it. Don't believe the mainstream media propaganda channels here in America. They are leftist funded. It's the same with everywhere, really. And then another super chat saying, what is this? Setting new gratitude and thank you for giving us the news that the world is better with you in it. God bless you and your family. Thank you so much for the support, Mr. Rainbow. Now, what is this? All right, let's quickly get some quick reaction from the members. Obviously, if you become a member of the channel by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen or by just going on 2c.tv, you also get access to obviously everything, the podcast, the interviews, documentaries, but also the chat forum that we have. Let's quickly go and see what's going on with you guys. The members, Neil says, I want to see the entire J6 committee jailed. And Fauci as well. I believe everybody will be investigated following this. The J6 committee withheld evidence, and obviously many went to jail who shouldn't have. Yep. So they deserve to spend time in jail as well. There has to be a proper compensation for the political prisoners at the same time, more than what we've already had, apologies and all that nonsense. They didn't think he would win in 2016 and made sure he didn't in 2020, and definitely didn't think he would come back stronger than ever in 2024. I have 4 letters for you. F around and find out. Yeah, so I think they got so complacent about 2024 after they cancelled Trump in 2020. They thought, well, he's never going to come back. And it took until 2023 because at that point, DeSantis seemed, in the eyes of the establishment, that, oh, he's going to get it. So Trump is not going to win. That's why they got so complacent that they kept Joe Biden as the candidate. And then DeSantis lost to Trump. Trump is now going up and up and up. And Joe Biden continues to fall asleep. And then they realize, oh, what do we do now? It's because they didn't plan properly. They're idiots. Pot kettle stupid. Yes. Don't forget. Now, hope you and Mrs. Tusi had a great honeymoon, and thank you both for your work before, during, and after your wedding, because you are the media, and I don't want to go anywhere else for it. God bless all. Thank you so much for continue our work. We have some exciting news about our recent expansion in the US, in Florida, with Tusi TV, and of course our new recruit, Sarah Raviani, who is now our marketing manager, and also of course she will hopefully soon be getting involved with some of the shows that we are doing as well on the channel. We'll be introducing a lot of new shows on both Tusi TV YouTube as well as mostly Tusi TV Plus, which is our own independent platform, which you can get access to by scanning the QR code or going directly on tusi.tv or finding the link in the description. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya Tusi, and we
Chain 6. Junk.
Sorry. Hey, I'm fine. Go to space. Yeah. What?